Gemini is not simply a sign in the zodiac. It is a pulse, a living stream of thought, feeling, and change that moves faster than most can comprehend. It is the flicker of light before dawn, the whisper of the wind that carries 100 voices at once, the mind that never stops reaching for more. Those who meet a Gemini know this instinctively. There is something impossible to pin down about them. You can try to capture their essence, but like sand slipping through fingers, they transform the moment you think you understand. This is why Gemini stands out, not because they shout the loudest or because they demand attention, but because their very being refuses to blend into the background. They are the breeze that shifts the direction of a conversation, the spark that turns a dull moment into something unforgettable. Their gift is movement, of ideas, of emotions, of energy. And the truth is, people feel this long before they can explain it. Gemini does not walk into a room, they change the room. Their laughter reshapes the atmosphere. Their curiosity draws out the stories others didn't know they wanted to tell. And yet, behind that bright and restless exterior, there is an inner depth that few are allowed to see. If you are drawn to this sign, it is because your soul recognizes a mirror, one that reflects not just who you are, but the infinite possibilities of who you could become. This is why, if you are not already part of our community here at Astro Gemini, you'll want to subscribe now, because understanding Gemini means learning to embrace change, light, and shadow all at once. And yet, the reason everyone knows when a Gemini is present goes beyond charm or wit. It's because they live as if each moment could be the start of a new chapter. They treat life as a book with pages still blank, and they are unafraid to rewrite the same page until it feels true. They teach, without saying a word, that you are allowed to start over as many times as you need. Gemini carries an aura of contradiction, both grounded and untethered, both intimate and elusive. It's this paradox that makes them unforgettable. People notice them not only for what they say, but for how they see, through layers, through masks, into the raw and unpolished truth of a moment. To know a Gemini is to know that change is not something to fear, but to welcome. It's to witness the beauty of a soul that refuses to be contained. Their mind is a kaleidoscope, shifting colors, blending patterns, never static. They live with a restlessness that is not chaos, but creation. Every conversation, every connection, every fleeting spark of curiosity becomes another piece of the mosaic that is their spirit. And those who are lucky enough to share space with them often find themselves inspired to think bigger, to feel deeper, to take risks they've been avoiding. Because Gemini is not just a presence, they are a catalyst. And the world always remembers the ones who change it, even in the smallest of ways. What most people don't realize is that Gemini's ability to stand out is born from a deep awareness of life's fragility. They know that moments are temporary, that emotions rise and fall like tides, and that identity itself is something you can reinvent at will. They stand out not because they cling to who they were yesterday, but because they are already becoming who they will be tomorrow. This is why they can sit with you and make you feel seen in ways you didn't expect. They have walked through their own labyrinth of contradictions and come out carrying pieces of wisdom in both hands. They can meet your laughter with laughter, your pain with understanding, and your dreams with fuel. Gemini understands that every part of you is allowed to exist, the strong and the fragile, the hopeful and the tired.
And yet, this gift comes at a cost. The same mind that moves like lightning can also be a storm. The same curiosity that opens 1,000 doors can sometimes leave them wondering which one leads home. They are noticed by many, but deeply understood by few. And still, they keep moving forward because they know that their soul was built for evolution, not stagnation. If you've ever felt a Gemini's presence, you know they can turn a passing conversation into a turning point. They have a way of leaving echoes in your mind, thoughts you revisit days or even years later. And it's not because they force their words upon you, it's because they speak from a place that's alive, awake, and willing to risk vulnerability. So yes, everyone knows when Gemini is in the room. Not because they demand the spotlight, but because they are the light. Sometimes soft and glowing, sometimes sharp and blinding, but always impossible to ignore. And if you are resonating with this energy right now, take a moment to like this video, not just to support our work here, but to acknowledge that you too feel that pull toward the kind of change Gemini represents. Gemini reminds the world that we are all allowed to be more than one thing, that we can hold joy and grief in the same breath, that we can be the student and the teacher at once, and that life, in all its unpredictability, is richer when we stop trying to define it too neatly. Gemini is the soul that refuses to fade into monotony. They are the thread of unexpected color in an otherwise predictable tapestry, the shift in melody that makes you stop and listen more closely. And yet their radiance is not only for others, it is also their way of surviving. For behind the quick smile and effortless charm lies a heart that has known solitude, that has wrestled with doubts most will never see.
Their strength comes not from having avoided storms, but from learning to dance in the rain without losing the spark in their eyes. They have been misunderstood, labeled as inconsistent, accused of being too much or too little, depending on the day. But the truth is, Gemini is simply too vast to fit into one fixed version of themselves. And this is why they stand out. They embody the truth that being alive means being in motion. When you speak to a Gemini, you are speaking to 1,000 lifetimes of thought, curiosity, and rebirth. They can talk about the stars and then about the ache of human longing in the same breath, because to them, both are part of the same truth. They are unafraid to explore what others shy away from, to ask the questions that reveal hidden layers, and to sit with the uncertainty that those answers bring. People remember Gemini because they make them feel something. It might be excitement, it might be inspiration, it might even be discomfort, but it is always real. They do not offer the safety of stagnation, they offer the thrill of possibility. And for those who are ready to grow, Gemini is unforgettable. Still, this constant motion means they often carry a silent fatigue. The world celebrates their brightness, but rarely asks what it costs to keep shining. Gemini knows that to be truly alive is to pour themselves into experiences, relationships, and dreams, even when they know some of them will not last. That willingness to live fully, even at the risk of heartbreak, is what sets them apart from the cautious and the closed. If you've ever shared a moment with a Gemini, you know they leave a trace, not always in words, sometimes in the way they look at you, as if they are seeing not just who you are, but every version you could become. They remind you that you are not stuck, that change is not the end, it is the beginning.
And maybe that's why the universe always seems to place Gemini at crossroads, both their own and those of others. They arrive when you need a new perspective, when life has grown heavy, when your dreams need air. They are messengers, carriers of truths wrapped in humor, curiosity, and warmth. If you are feeling the resonance of this message now, I invite you to pause for a moment and share your date of birth and zodiac sign in the comments, not as a simple fact, but as a way of saying, "This is my place in the story of the stars. This is who I am, and I am ready to be seen." The reason Gemini stands out in the zodiac is because they are living proof that you can be many things without losing your core. They are the embodiment of freedom without chaos, depth without heaviness, lightness without superficiality. They show us that we are allowed to live many lives within one lifetime, and that each version of ourselves deserves to be honored. Gemini is a bridge between worlds, the inner and the outer, the emotional and the intellectual, the grounded and the ethereal. They can make a stranger feel like an old friend, and they can turn a fleeting connection into a lifelong memory. And when they love in ways that awaken something inside you, something you didn't even know was asleep. But perhaps their greatest gift is that they inspire courage, the courage to speak your truth, to try again, to walk into the unknown with an open heart. Gemini lives as if they know that every sunrise is an invitation to begin again, and in their presence, you start to believe it too. When the world tries to make you choose between your many selves, Gemini whispers, you are allowed to be all of them. When life tries to convince you that change is dangerous, Gemini reminds you that change is simply the soul stretching toward its next chapter. And when you forget that you are more than your past, Gemini appears as a mirror to show you the infinite versions still waiting inside you.
So yes, everyone knows when a Gemini is near, not because they are the loudest voice or the brightest light, but because they are a living reminder of possibility. They stand out because they are unafraid to be in motion, to hold both the question and the answer, to love without needing certainty. If you've felt the presence of a Gemini in your life, or if you are one, you already know the truth. They are unforgettable, not for what they do, but for who they are. And that is the kind of mark no time, no distance, no silence can erase. So, as we close this journey together, I want to invite you once more. Subscribe to Astro Gemini so you can keep walking alongside the energy of this remarkable sign. And if this message has stirred something in you, like this video so that more souls can find it. Share your zodiac sign and your birth date in the comments, not just for astrology's sake, but as a way of claiming your space in this cosmic dance. Because the stars may guide us, but it is the way we choose to shine that makes us unforgettable. And in that, Gemini is already a master.